What have you guys been up to? Twerk 17. Let's ask you. Let's just jump right into it. What have you been doing?
Just not much. Still dealing with internet issues like crazy. Yeah. It's been really, really frustrating. But other than that, just playing a lot of Star Citizen. We had a few funny moments. One pretty epic team kill, which we won't show. But there is this one insane video of me playing Star Citizen at Korea Station, and I called an Uber and got picked up from the station.
I see that. You just wandered into a freelancer.
Yeah. So somebody was stream sniping and being like crazy weird and just trying to slam into the station, and he clipped through the station. I clipped into his ship, and then I flew away.
Happily ever after.
Yeah.
And then
I called my Uber up.
Because Twerk sexually identifies as a freelancer. So he found his life partner, and they drifted away.
Actually a freelancer, Max.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't want to be sizist, so.
Yeah.
Right.
I do own a Max, though.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I thought that was insane. It was just like, did that just happen? Holy crap, that just happened. That was one of the first times I've seen the chat absolutely go bonkers. They were like, what the hell? And the chat was just like, poof, just LOL, LOL. You know how the chat just goes like that really fast, and you're like, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
But other than that, I put up like my first official T-shirt. Like you and I had done one together. This is my first official Torque 17 logo T-shirt. I love the way it looks. I'm pretty happy about it. There's T-shirts and hoodies. I forgot the price of the tees. I think they're $19.99, and the hoodies are $39.99. So I made the hoodies hopefully affordable for the Euros, because hoodies usually end up being around $50, right? So with the $40 tag plus the $12.50 shipping, it's like actually reasonable for Euros. And then hopefully with a couple this sale and then one more sale, then we can have a store where I think Euros will actually have their own store, and then they have a cheaper shipping then, but it won't have the Twitch logo on it, which is whatever. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna pick up a few for myself. I'm probably gonna pick up a few for a hoodie and a tee for a giveaway.
I see all these colors that you have. For me, whenever I do the shirt sale, I pick one of every color up for myself. This would be $1 million for you, dude.
I would absolutely lose money.
I look at this and I was like, okay, so there's like 7 T-shirts and like 4 hoodies. That's like my Twitch paycheck.
Yeah, so like obviously the tees are a little pricey and stuff like that because of shipping. I have to do a few successful sales before I can get my own store. Once you get your own store, then shipping goes down. I don't understand why that happens. But yeah, so.
Right on.
I'm excited about it.
And you should post a link in chat for that.
For that, I will. I think it's !shirt. There you go. Or you can click the little thing below the stream.
And BoredGamer.
Hello.
Yourself. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
That's good.
I've been playing some Star Citizen. I think we should just assume that everyone has been playing some Star Citizen.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Every time we talk. But I've been doing some videos on 2015, like a whole overview look at it, which took quite a long time to do because I kind of forgot what happened in 2015.
Because not much happened. Yeah,
well, no. The problem was that we had 2 droughts. We had 2 content droughts. But then at the end of the year, loads of stuff happened.
Yeah.
So 2015 was an interesting year. In 2016, what's promised for it, like Squadron 42 and stuff, and a lot of mechanics and ships,
this year's
it's going to be exciting. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's going to be the biggest year for Star Citizen.
Absolutely.
That's not a full release year, which I think we're only going to realistically get Squadron 42 Chapter 1 released. But we'll have to see. But watch some of those videos for more information on that, guys. Pew, finger guns. Awesome. I see why Ben does this, because it gives you power.
He's got the power.
But in general, I'm going to be doing slightly less videos because I want to spend more time on those videos. At the moment, there's not a billion different things I can do in Star Citizen, so I'd just be churning out gameplay content. don't really want to be doing that. I want to be doing stuff that's researched, super interesting stuff, or at least stuff that I find quite interesting. And I'm going to be doing some choose your own adventure Star Citizen videos, as I said last week, where you wake up in Port Olisar and then you can choose to go back to bed or to go downstairs. You go downstairs, you can choose one of 3 ships, then you can choose different missions to do, and then you have choices to do on those missions, and it does a little video adventure for you. Stuff like that, stuff that's a bit more, you know, an experienced YouTuber should be doing, rather than me just occasionally churning out a crappy video. So I won't be doing crappy videos at all anymore.
No more crappy
videos.
No
quality, not quantity.
And the other thing, I suppose that's angered me today, which I'll talk about briefly. What? I don't rant.
No, whenever you say and another thing, it's never going to be good.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about it more properly later, maybe. Obviously, Oculus Rift, my channel was originally about VR. Well, Diablo 3, then VR, then Star Citizen. And pre-orders for the Oculus Rift started to be taken today for a March expected delivery. And they were a lot more expensive than I was led to believe. Now, I expect them to be at $400, $450 max, maybe. For me, they're £500 plus shipping, which is a lot more. That's like $750-ish.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more than I wanted to spend. So I was still happy to spend that on my credit card. Bam. Website doesn't want to take my money. 45 minutes later of constantly trying. Doesn't want to take my money.
You were actually going to try to buy it.
Oh yeah, I was. I was trying to buy.
I thought you were
and
like,
then,
no go.
And then
too expensive.
the expected delivery date was getting pushed back and back and back as more people ordered. And now it's in May, and it's probably in June or something now. So I was like, nah, I'm getting a Vive. Well, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought like I've been treated really badly by this automated website service. So yeah, and I'm really excited about VR, and I'm excited about VR integration in Star Citizen. I'll probably talk more about that later because Chris did talk about it recently-ish, and but yeah, that's pissed me off. So I'm in a shitty mood. That's why I'm drinking delicious energy drink. Others are available, but Red Bull is the best.
Before you go, Source, one other thing did happen to me today that I forgot to mention. While I was streaming today, this green screen light caught on fire.
Oh.
Caught on fire. Sparked, started smoking, and I quickly turned it off and put a new light in when I got...
That just means Twerk's too hot for TV.
That is what that means. So now, when I went out and got lights, I got the wrong color light. So half of my body is yellow, and half of my body is white.
You look more tanned.
Yeah.
I look much more tan on this side.
I need yellow lights. Look how pasty I am.
I know, right? We need
So
yellow
pissed.
lights.
So it's
these white ones.
It's been a day. It's been a day.
It's been a day for you. Well, for me, there's not a lot new. Star Citizen every day. That hasn't stopped. What is kind of new for me is this channel here, the Redacted YouTube channel. So as we just started the podcast, another video went up, and if I refresh this, it should one on stream sniping that has 2 views already. And this is, I don't know what it is. I think it's ! Redacted in Twerk's chat. But this, I've been putting up 2 videos a day. And we're going to be continuing to do that. We're going to take the questions portion of this, and I'm going to slice it and dice it and throw it up there and make it all pretty for the YouTubes.
Just before we started the podcast as well, Source has got some quite good and interesting ideas for that YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And it might be worth watching what it does in the future. I definitely recommend subscribing for some hilarity.
Yeah, no, so it's sort of my little baby that I'm going to focus on for the next couple months and sort of see where it's going to go from there, and hopefully not only help advertise the podcast, but help advertise the channels and put like good content out there for people who want answers to these questions, where it's a lot easier for us to reference, oh yeah, there's a question on stream sniping, and we can just link them right to that, instead of having be like, oh yeah, we answered it in one of our podcasts.
I don't remember which one. Yeah.
So this is going to be a lot easier. It's bite-sized, easily digestible content. Yeah. So that's basically what I've been working on. And also, I would like to congratulate MVP of the Redacted forums for this week.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Is Muppeteer SC, who's already MVP.
Why not me? He's MVP twice, and I'm not MVP
twice,
once.
and you don't even get it once.
You'll always be an MVP.
For writing a story from the verse.
Thanks,
Right here.
And it's quite the little pirate's tale that is apparently inspired from my channel. I definitely suggest going to give that a read. I will post the link for this in chat for you guys here in a second. But yeah, so also we are going to be giving away a starter package today. It is open to everybody. Make sure you're following both myself, Twerk, and also subscribe to BoredGamer on the YouTubes.
You said open to everyone, yeah?
Yes.
Awesome.
Awesome. This guy.
What?
He's the first guy that got into the... Oh my god. Where did we find this
Don't
guy?
worry, guys. If he wins, we're gonna re-roll.
No, you said open to everyone. Come on. Don't be like that. It's not rigged, bite marks. Go away.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't even do it now.
Can't even. This guy.
Can't even.
Oh, shit.
Okay, I don't want that there. There we go. So do we want to move on to some news that we
let's
had this
move
week?
on.
What little news that we did have?
Actually, before we jump into news, because there is so little news, we're going to be taking a lot of questions today. So if you guys have any questions, exclamation point question in chat. If you have questions for us personally about our channels, about virtual reality, if you have any questions about Oculus or stuff, or any Star Citizen stuff, or any of that other stuff. Well, I don't know what you're doing, but all right.
Is this what you wanted to
It's getting
Yes.
well. It's
You
getting
take your damn
it's
jacket.
getting weird in here. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, just throw them in there. Star Citizen, whatever. If we don't know the answer, we'll try the best. Remember, we don't work for CIG, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to what news we have. You want to take it away?
So pretty much like we had an around the verse. It was kind of lackluster this time around. We saw Nyx, right? But it was not much more of Nyx other than like a hallway with some lights.
I think the best bit we saw was from the teaser the week before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
The
So we saw the
teaser
outside,
was
which
pretty
we
much
had.
the whole thing.
Yeah, and we've seen that before. So pretty much the best news from this week was in 10 for the chairman, because it was the most relevant, I guess, towards what's been going on.
It was a good time for the chairman as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It was one of the better ones, I thought. So the first thing he mentioned was ship configuration in Crusader. So, I don't know what just happened.
Nothing just
What do you
happened.
mean?
Oh, I saw something weird on the stream.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. I got it.
Okay. So we'll be able to customize our ship loadouts with REC or UEC. I guess they still haven't decided.
It was both, effectively.
Oh yeah, I guess because you can buy things with UEC and rent things with REC. So mostly, I would say REC then, because we'll be.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be buying things permanently.
I think most people know better than to buy weapons permanently right now because they're constantly changing with the balance and stuff. So obviously, I think all three of us would recommend. Yeah, I wish I knew a year and a half ago with some of the weapons I bought. But I think all three of us obviously recommend to rent things in game when this is available. But it's a super high priority for them to get this in. Early this year, we'll have customization as well as persistence. So in order for them to do this stuff and bring in shopping, they need persistence in the game as well. So to get that shopping experience in, I think what they wanted to give us for 2.1 was to just walk around Kasaba Outlet and not actually be able to buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I asked, because Adam Parker was in my chat today, and I asked him about it, and he was like, as far as I know, there was going to be no buying of anything. So
yeah,
I was like, okay.
I expect them to open the shop and possibly get details of the stuff in a similar way that you can in, like, not G-Lock. What's the name of the gunny shop?
Kasaba. Oh, the gun
Chubby
shop?
Blast. Chubby Blast.
Cubby Blast, yeah.
So, and then the one thing that I thought was super awesome is that at some point, the Voyager Direct Store is going to get phased out. So it'll just be eventually gone. And do you think, does that Electronic Access Store too? I would think so, right?
So I hope it's going to be all form of rec and UEC purchases phased out.
Yeah, so I think he meant both when he said that, which was pretty awesome.
Obviously, real money purchases will stay on the website.
Right.
As far as I'm
because I don't know if they have that kind of UI in the game yet, where you're making purchases in game. Even when you make purchases in game, like on Steam and stuff, it kind of brings you to a website, right? Anyway.
If they avoid that completely, it helps people not say it's pay to win. They avoid any form of going from the game to money cash purchases, because otherwise people will go, it's pay to win.
Yeah.
So we want to avoid that as much as possible.
But I guess other than that, I mean, that's something that's really important, I think, to be able to not have to leave the game, close your game in order to have that, like your weapons and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, like, okay, I want to try this weapon out. Well, then you just go to the store and exactly, and like delete your inventory folder and all this other bullshit. So now, when all that stuff's in, it's literally you just go to the store, pick it up, put it on your ship, and then go. Which will be so good.
Like I know as soon as I can buy silly hats, that I'm going to spend more real money on silly hats than I have on ships.
Because they can't balance those.
they literally
can't ruin.
The taller, the better for me.
Yeah. So I wonder if there'll be like additional armor for the more tall your head is, or something.
Oh my god! Why would you need to armor your hat?
Because then they can balance it.
Have a fish tank on there.
Then they can ruin your day.
It's topped off with a grey cat or something. Yeah, why not? Boom.
But no, I think that's where they could make some money. If they really want to make additional money, that would probably be a good place, right? With customizing your character, maybe some sort of rare items that you have to do something to get, or you do a mission and it's rare if you get that item or the ability to purchase it somewhere or something like that, instead of like skins, right? It could be something like a skin where something.
Well, I don't think skins are going to work anymore, really.
Yeah,
because of the whole paint system that they want to bring in.
No, I mean like skins in like CS:GO or something like that, right? Or in
decals and stuff. Yeah,
where they can make in-game purchases that are not pay to win, and that they can make money on.
Cosmetic. Yeah.
Yeah, like that they can somehow in a mission that you end up getting that stuff. Right.
So there's a way to earn it, and there's a way to just buy it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, like the military Hornet skin, stuff like that. That's a good idea. Sell those.
And I'm just saying for clothing, accessories to put on maybe your armor to make it look cooler, but really has no.
I think the issue there is that you could buy that, but what happens if your character dies in a fire?
Yeah, do you lose that?
So, do you lose that, or does that all get shipped back to you still, and just assume... Actually, they could just ship it back to you.
Who knows?
Who knows?
We'll see how they'll have to do it, but I'm just thinking
somebody knows.
There has to be a way... I'm just thinking more ways for them to make money, right? And I think that might be a decent way for them to make a little bit of money, right?
Yeah, maybe.
So
it's only a way that I wouldn't get annoyed at, so...
Exactly. Like, you can't really argue with that one with them, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't be like, it's pay to win, and complain about that stuff. So I don't know. I'm okay with it. Now, they mentioned something that was cool also about FPS stealth gameplay. So they said there's going to be FPS stealth gameplay, and that there are gadgets to aid in stealth and distraction. We know about distraction, which is the hologram thing, right?
Yep. Which
is pretty cool. Which we were hoping to see at the last time that they did an FPS thing, but they... Remember how they kept killing the guy with the hologram on it, so they couldn't use it?
They didn't use it.
Yeah, but if you worked with Aaron, you'd still want to kill him occasionally when you were allowed to.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Got you, Aaron.
Kill the boss.
So we would have seen it, but we never... I mean, we got to see it once, but it wasn't like anything fantastic or exciting. But I think that's one of the things that are talking about in stealth. I wonder what some of the other gadgets are to... Because we do see the radar on our helmets, right?
So, I mean, they talked about there was going to be gadgets to distract and, dampen things.
Yeah.
to like disable radars and dampen radars. Now, I thought that Chris kind of dodged around this a little bit or misunderstood the question.
Okay.
Because I felt that the stealth gameplay thing should be you're never detected. You don't need to use a hologram. You don't use stuff that dampens where you are. You are totally invisible.
You would use some sort of armor that made you invisible, but maybe didn't provide protection or something.
Yeah, I mean, that would be fine as well. But I mean, literally, can you sneak around a level, murder NPCs to complete an entire mission without ever being detected? That's what I want to know. Oh, I hope you can.
Why? Why do you hope not?
I don't know. That just seems a little...
If you can do it, I mean, it would be really hard to.
It would be.
Like, really
it would be
hard.
just like a lot of games where you can go the guns blazing route, or you can go the stealth route, or you can go an in between route. Why wouldn't you
But like
want
an
more options?
invisibility cloak? Because they don't have... Okay, they have no cloaking ability.
No. Not invisibility.
Is that what you're talking about?
No. You're not listening.
I mean, so no invisibility at all. Literally, can you? I'm just armed with a knife and in a vest.
Yeah.
Can I, if I'm
Just
really
creep
good,
around.
stab everyone without them seeing me?
Yeah, like be able to go.
As in,
through...
they don't see you on the radar.
Well, they don't see me
No,
because I'm
it's
behind
not.
them.
Yeah, okay,
They're not
that's fine.
looking
I
at
thought
you.
you meant
No,
like they're
no,
looking at you and they literally can't see you.
Yeah, I
That's
love
like
it.
how
in
I
games.
understood what you were
I love it
saying.
in games where there's no difficulty. Can I just stand in front of them and
So I
stab?
was like, what are you
Just
talking
gonna run
about?
and stabbing
That's
people
how I
in the
understood
face.
it. I was like, this is the
Yeah,
worst
no,
idea
more like
ever.
thief, like thief.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, okay, totally
Probably
understand,
so.
and yes, I hope so, of course.
Well,
of course.
I mean, you have to remember they have all those ducts, like the ducting and everything in the ships and the levels and stuff. Even though we don't have it now, that's what that's going to be for. Is for sneaking around and getting all, backstabby.
Do any
Yeah,
of
and
you do that now? I like when people land on the platform. I just follow them.
Yeah, I
and
chase
wait
them.
until they
I
turn around
chase
and
them
see
until
me.
they turn around, and then I kill them.
Yeah.
The issue is that
Best
there's
is in an
no
airlock.
knife and there's no melee attack at the moment. If there was a melee attack, I would
Yeah.
literally spend the whole day just trying to punch people
Yeah.
because it's
Absolutely.
so much more fun. Killing like a whole bunch, especially when you can merge in with the crowd. Like I've seen in some of you guys' videos, you can literally. There's like a group of 3 or 4 people will come down into.
Yeah,
to
you saw
Korea.
when I did that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can just run up behind them and they go, "Oh, is there an
Wait,
extra
there's
person?"
an extra person here. And they're like, who's who?
Punch 'em
And then
all.
you see everybody lay down, and so you just lay down with them. Then you see everybody stand up, you stand up. No, there's a couple times where I've done that, and my favorite is when I follow them. I'll stalk them I'll watch them land, so I'll be EVAing, and I'll just sort of duck underneath the platform, and they'll land, and I'll peek up just so I can see, just barely, so my head, so I don't have a big silhouette. And you see them get out and look around, and they're all being super vigilant. And they're like, okay, I'm good. And then they run to the airlock so that I jump on the platform. I'm running behind them. And
airlock.
yeah, they're at the airlock. They're sitting there just looking at the door. I'm sitting literally like this far away. And they go in the airlock, and I go in there behind them. And then they close it. And so both doors are closed. It's either at that point that I kill them, and they're like, what happened? Or sometimes they turn around just to make sure no one followed them in, and it's like, oh well, too late. You're dead now. But yeah, like that kind of gameplay where you're able to sneak up on people, and instead of shooting them, being able to just knife them in the back.
Yeah, and I mean we had melee.
Yeah.
We've had it for a long time. I don't know why they did away
Because
with it.
melee was like this.
Yeah. And it just looked bad, and Chris was probably like, take it out.
Insta kill. Yeah.
Most
Yeah,
likely.
so. But I'm looking forward to when stuff like that comes in, of course. Now that I understand what you guys mean, I was like, at first I was like, no,
Yeah, sorry.
please no please no Harry Potter gameplay, thank you.
I mean, melee is very
Only-
important for me in that sort of game, but I don't think it's a high priority to them. So
Yeah. Do you know what I'm looking forward to? Snipers.
See,
Yeah.
that's the opposite for
EVA,
me.
giant EVA from super far away and snipe somebody.
But
How
he just
fucking
propels
cool
you
is that going to
backwards
be?
for miles.
And then you
Yeah.
fly backwards. Yes.
Just twerk, firing what you have to hit, because otherwise you just rotate slowly backwards.
Yeah.
While you're like, yeah, ridiculous.
You just
Like, hold
spin,
on,
yeah.
I need to get the Portalisaur again.
Yeah.
You just let a sniper shot go. But all right, speaking of getting to another place, they mentioned planetary landings. So a lot of people have had questions about this, especially when they come into, like, I'm assuming into some of your Twitch stream source, and I'm sure you've been asked this question as well, Bored, on some of your videos. Like, when you pass by a planet or a moon or something like that in Crusader, people are like, can you land on planets? And it's like, Yes, but not yet. So then he did kind of explain some of the mechanics of planetary landing now that they have a little bit more of this tech in. So they're going to give us a little bit more freedom, and basically he said there's going to be like virtual tunnels. So let's just assume there's going to be like some UI thing flying by your head, and as long as you stay within that tunnel, you can fly on your own. But if you end up deviating outside of the tunnel and, you know, going towards a building or something like that, what's going to end up happening is the, you know, flight control of the planet will take over your ship and then fly you automatically to your landing pad. So instead of us originally having a basically a cutscene, which is what we had seen about probably a year ago now at this point, right? I can't remember when we saw it first. Was
when
the
you
landing on
approach
our
the planet, it would like basically take over.
Yeah, like you would say, you know, request docking, and they'd say okay, and then you would get a video.
A feature that you guys really want, being on the populated planets?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the only reason I want it, even though it's not gonna be a ton of variety, it is way better than seeing the same exact video every time you land on a planet.
So I don't mind the video thing. What I mean is there a need to have a non-automated landing for those populated planets?
I would rather. Me personally, I enjoy manually landing.
Yes.
So I would rather manually land, but I see why they don't want to do that. They don't want you landing in the middle of the town or the city, right? Yeah. And there's no way to prevent that. So that's why they're doing it that way, I imagine.
Yeah. Like, they would love us to have the freedom to fly wherever, but we would just be dumb and run into things. And then it would break immersion if the building never got damaged or whatever.
As Chris referred to it as 9/11ing things.
Yes, which was a little, too soon, Chris, too soon. But it is, yeah. It's always going to be too soon for that. It's always
going to be too soon.
But I think the reason, just think about it. There's going to be planets that you're going to go to often. So let's say, I don't think ArcCorp is going to be one of them, but let's say ArcCorp is the one that we always go to, right? We go there really often. It's a populated place. That's where I go to meet friends. It's whatever, you know. It's the place that my org tends to go to all the time. So if we don't have automated landings, or if we don't have manual landings, then it's just going to be a cutscene every time, and I have to wait for that cutscene every single time for it to end.
Well, no. Because you can get up out of your ship and do other stuff and walk around.
I guess, but it's still like the same thing over and over.
For me, I'd prefer automated landings on populated planets where there's nothing to explore. And literally, get up out of my seat. So my ship's landing. I know it's going to take about 30 seconds to land. I can do other stuff quickly. Or even Alt-Tab to do something. Manual landings, with that, I worry we'll get samey. Might not.
But you can automate it too.
Oh, yeah,
it's not like you can't automate it also.
That's a good point. For me, I'll just automate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I most likely automate all the time, but I would like to have the option to do something a little different. Like, what if I want to fly in backwards? I could do that if I want to. You know?
Yeah.
As long as you're staying in so you can just do...
know why you'd
it's
want
that
to do
guy.
that?
It's the flying backwards guy. God damn it.
I'm just making some silly example.
How do you go twerk somewhere? Because it's flying in backwards.
Well, so
listen, I'm not a good enough pilot to do that.
For me,
I'm just saying.
I would want the government on that planet to go, no, of course we make everyone automated, because otherwise you have a flying backwards guy. Okay, he's just an idiot. That's
more
why
importantly,
you make people wear bicycle helmets, because they're idiots.
There could be a good reason that it's because it's highly populated and you have a lot of traffic going in and out. It's not like space where you're going to most likely not hit anything at all. Whereas that is, you're more likely to hit something, so to reduce on, you know, accidents and things like that, they automate when you get close to a city.
Yeah.
Right, so during the rest of the planet, you can fly around.
It is automated because as soon as you go out of your little area that you can fly in, you're done.
I bet you get fined,
automated.
Though. I bet you get fined some UEC.
That would be cool. I would be okay with that.
If you do the automated process, I bet they charge you a little bit more UEC. And if you try and manually land, you go, and it goes, no, fine.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's interesting, but not that interesting, I guess. It's just one of those things that I'd like to see some some variety when I land on certain planets because I don't want to see the same thing over and over again.
Twerk
But
wants to be spicy.
Yeah, and on top of that, on unpopulated planets, we're going to have a lot more freedom. So we're going to be able to fly around, do whatever, and we're going to be able to kind of maybe even explore a little bit of what's around. So there's wildlife, plants, and maybe even some missions around that planet. But who knows? So a lot more freedom on unpopulated planets, or these... I don't know the best way to say it other than unpopulated or not very populated planets that will have a bit more freedom. And then, I don't know about you guys, but I looked at the 1.0 manual religiously when making like YouTube videos or answering questions.
Yeah.
Okay, like there's like a lot of good information in there about
Never
like
saw
the HUD. Really? Like the HUD, all the...
I played this game every day since like...
Still, I play. You act like I haven't. Still, there's information in there that like, oh, okay, and so, and they do a good job of explaining like what each thing does. So it's easier to explain it to your viewers and stuff like that. So they're working on the game manual for 2.0, and now that 2.0 is so vastly more complex, especially with the keybinds, they're gonna kind of work that in there. And one thing that I actually don't have...
tutorials.
Exactly, yeah. Now, I think one of the things that I didn't put in the doc that I think we all agree on is the key binding system is just insane. And Chris agrees. He mentioned it in 10 for the Chairman. That it's just like, it's too crazy. For when a new person comes in, they're not going to have a clue, right? So it's definitely going to help getting things more together. And like one of the things that he absolutely wants to do is have like, your strafe keys on your FPS gameplay are the same strafe keys as your flight gameplay. Because I don't know about you guys, but I have to switch. Like when I get out of the ship, I have to switch completely. From
don't you use a joystick and a keyboard?
I use a joystick, but I use a keyboard for strafing. Okay. So my strafe forward, back, left, right, up, and down, they're all different than WASD. So
yeah, they are for everybody.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the problem. He wants them all together.
But that, I mean, I don't know how that's going. What are you going to make your use key?
They don't want to use function at all. I don't know what they're going to do.
You're going to have to use... There's going to have to be some sort of function for grabby hands.
I know. Look at it. You just look at stuff enough.
There's going to have to be something, but maybe you click it. I don't know.
Right? I don't, like, in all honesty, I don't mind the way it is right now.
I don't mind, but that's because we've played so much of it. So there's so many keys.
Well, no, because it's... Well, the FPS is standard FPS.
Yeah, but
controls,
I don't know.
Right?
That's one of the things that he mentioned, that he wants to get them all together and the same. So...
Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to do that. I mean, we are going to be able to rebind it anyways, so just rebind it to whatever you want.
To whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, you could do that now.
Yeah.
So, the next thing is, I think people were confused about procedurally generated environments. I think they thought that as you see them, they're getting procedurally generated.
No, that's not how that works. Yeah,
that's not how it works at all. So go ahead.
So basically what happens is, instead of building something from scratch, there's an algorithm that will base things off of seed numbers and things like that. So you'll look at an asteroid field, and each one of those, there'll be like tolerance levels, right? So you'll have a minimum and maximum tolerance, and then there'll be a huge variation in between. So each rock will, or each asteroid will look different. Some may look the same, it won't be very often though that happens, because that's how procedural generation works. And so each one will have its own seed code. So if you look at it in the way that Minecraft is procedurally generated, what it is each level, each time you load into Minecraft, it's a seed number, right? And that seed number, no matter what you do, if you manually put in seed numbers, it will always load in the same level, right? So me and Twerk could both be using Minecraft, for example, and we could both be playing offline, and we could both put in the same seed, and it'll bring up the same level because of the way that the math works to bring that out. It's not like, oh, when I see something, you're seeing something different. It's not procedurally generating as you get there. It's already done through math, and that's what
you say it's already done. It's not already done, but it's all based on the same procedure on the thread on the seed.
Right, so it won't
doesn't
ever
matter
be-
that it's not done.
Right.
Everyone gets
Right,
exactly
that's
the
what I
same
mean,
experience,
yeah.
whatever.
Right, and so it's a lot lighter on the
art team.
systems. Well, it's a lot lighter on the art team, but they have to still make it so. They still have to make it so it goes seamlessly together, and there's no like weird transitions from things, and that's why doing procedural cities is going to be really hard. But for them to do things like asteroids and things like that, it's going to be a lot easier. But yeah, that's sort of a quick breakdown of.
Yeah, like I'm assuming that they can have like preset stuff like when they're going to me. Maybe I'm not understanding it correctly either. I feel like how I was understanding it is, okay, so they say we want a deserty looking ship, so they can planet, and they can say we want these kind of things to be there, procedurally generate it, and it just does it.
Yeah, so
right?
How I think that Star Citizen is going to do it is they're going to just procedurally generate things on their end and put those assets into the game.
Yeah,
and that's
and
how
then
they're
like
gonna
obviously polish it before and then
right.
put them in.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Okay, so yeah,
that's
I'm
my
on the same
understanding
page
of.
then.
So
It's irrelevant who's procedurally generated it.
it is irrelevant, but because actually it is relevant because CIG still wants to go in there and hand polish things
and make it them
and
make it their style
and make it so there isn't like buildings going into buildings or broken shit. So they need to be able to check that first and then put it
so
into the game.
not everything will be procedurally generated.
Right.
No.
So the landing zones won't be procedurally generated.
Right.
They'll be part of a procedurally generated world.
in the beginning, right?
Yes.
Right.
because you have
So
to think that
so
when
what
they
they
do
might
it,
do-
that there's going to be some errors, right?
Right, so what they might do is they might say, okay, we're going to build another city, but instead of taking all this time to build a city from scratch, we're going to procedurally generate the city. Then we're going to look at it, make sure it all works, and then we're going to add some handcrafted elements into it as well. And then
I'm
put
not
it in.
sure if there's
that's what
ever
they've
a
that's what
need.
they've talked about before.
I don't think there will ever be a need for them to procedurally generate cities. Not at this stage anyway, because
Not at this
they're
stage.
not going to be as
No.
they're not going to be so massive ever. I mean, it's the massive scale of a planet that is insane if you wanted to craft it yourself.
Right.
Or
I'm not
look at
talking
every
about
different
at this stage. I'm talking about this is what they've talked about for later stages in the game.
Yeah.
And this is exactly how they've explained it. That they wanted to procedurally generate it and then have like hero buildings and handcrafted parts in it as well. Just to make sure that it works.
That would suggest to me that the scale of the game they've got planned for later is a lot bigger
Yep.
than we can see even on the star map, like
Yep.
significantly bigger.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Like
I mean,
I
that'd be
think what
amazing.
they really want us to do is, if we want to walk ArcCorp, I think we're going to be able to walk ArcCorp. Like, just think of a planet that has is the whole thing is the city. Like, I feel like that's exactly what they want us to be able to do if we want to.
Yeah, every day in the morning on my stream, I do an entire lap of Delmar.
Yeah, you know, like I think that's what they want. I don't know if it's actually going to be.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I don't know how far away that is. It's probably pretty far away. That might be one of their reaches, you know. But I can see that being something that they would want us to be able to do.
I will do that on my Oculus and treadmill. I will do a lap of a planet.
Don't you have to be able to
You'll be dead.
reserve one of those
Run.
Oculuses to do it on an Oculus?
I'll do it on a HTC
Shots.
Vive. I mean, I'm angry. I'm angry at the Oculus. I am. Genuinely am.
So I think that's
just-
a reach, but I think it's something they want.
And just a reminder, guys, if you have questions for us, ! question in chat. And remember to get into that starter package giveaway, ! starter. And make sure you're following both myself and Twerk on Twitch and subscribe to BoredGamer on the YouTubes. Twitch does not sponsor or endorse any of our giveaways. And if you get the opportunity, do me a favor and go and retweet that as well, please. Okay, moving on to the refueling.
Yeah, and this is the final thing before we're probably going to go to questions. So get those questions in for sure. The last thing that they mentioned that I thought was pretty relevant was the Starfarer's refueling mechanics. So somebody asked a question about it, and I think what they asked was, will the refueling system be in when we see the Starfarer? And the answer was yes. When the Starfarer is flyable, we will have the refueling system.
I think
But-
they want to do that with all the ships. Like,
yeah, like
Any
that
of the
is
premier ships. Yes.
Exactly. That is the refueling ship, right? So anytime there is the ship for something, they want to debut it with that. I guess the freelancer isn't like the
no.
trading ship, but I was kind of hoping we would get cargo with it. But,
Whole series.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Is the
I
whole
expect
series-
we'll get hull A and hull B
Mhm.
first. That's what I'd expect,
Yep.
just because they're smaller.
Yep.
And probably more common.
Not to
And
get
then
off
get that with
topic,
cargo. Yeah,
but
go
don't you
ahead.
think we'll get cargo before those ships are done?
Yeah, so I think
Given
they
that
could definitely
we haven't heard
implement
them
the
working on
mechanic.
them at all.
Yeah, you could definitely implement that mechanic of cargo
Yeah.
before them.
Yeah.
It's just.
I
it's
don't
a good
see
point.
they won't be in before that mechanic's in though.
Well, do they need any of the hull series for Squadron 42? Not even for background ships?
Well, they
Probably
said they
don't.
wanted them for background stuff. I remember
Okay.
them saying that, but that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just brief, and then we never heard it again.
Mhm.
But they said it will be in when it's flyable. The only other thing is that this month they mentioned Starfare hangar ready.
Yeah, it's going to be good, isn't it?
I'm so pumped.
It
The only
looked
thing that I hate,
amazing.
though, the only thing that I heard him say on the last 10 for the chairman that he was on, I believe he said this, was that the only hangar that can hold the Starfare is the Revel in York. Because they made it like large enough to fit.
Yeah, I heard that they were
He
making
briefly
the
said
Revel and
that.
York hangar ready for the Starfarer. I do remember
Yeah.
them saying that.
So now I have to switch from the hangar that I like to use
Was that
to the
Aero
hangar.
View?
I like the AeroView and Selfland. So, but
Okay.
I like the AeroView more lately. But I've been
Aero
using the
View and Revel and
Selfland.
York. I really like.
I've been using the
You're
Selfland
all
because
wrong. How about that?
of the
It's an asteroid, is it for you, Saurus?
Yeah.
eh,
That lighting in there's horrible at the moment.
It is terrible.
Look at it go. Oh.
Yeah, the lighting's good when you first get in, and then 10 seconds later, it's shit.
I haven't looked at the AeroView since like 2.0, 2.1, but I don't think they've made any changes to it. They've made most of the changes to Revel in York and Selfland, so I've been chilling in the Selfland lately. But I mean, that's really it for the news. It was a really quiet week because obviously it was a holiday week, so they just went back to work a couple days ago. I guess I heard some news about a possible 2.1D patch to the PTU today, but then it got shot down by Xylo saying no go, it's not ready.
Silo!
Yeah, like a
They
few
need to
hours
fix
before
those
I went on
NPCs.
stream.
I do want to say that while we have people in here, I know a lot of you guys are either watching my channel or Twitch channel. The reason that in the PTU that you're getting the low frame rates and the time
Yes.
dilation is only because of the AI and the NPCs. So if you avoid the comma-rays or Yella, then you get, I've gotten 55, 60 frames a second. But the minute that you start to introduce the AI and everything in there, it starts to get really choppy. Sometimes with some of the bigger ships on an explosion, it'll dip down, but it'll only
But
dip
that's
down to
okay.
like 25 or 20.
And it's for a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's only for a little bit. It's not for a lot, but
Yeah.
I just want to let everybody know that right now you can have a really good experience in 2.1 PTU. You just have to not do the comma-rays.
Yep. There's one other thing also that we kind of noticed might be an issue as well. If you have a constellation, apparently if you bring up a constellation, that landing pad will now forever be locked. So even though
Okay.
there's not a ship there, so 2 constellations get brought up in the A side, done. No more
Yeah.
Connies. Then
Well,
you
you
go
have
to
to
the
go
B
to the
side,
other one.
done. No more Connie size ship.
No,
Then you go to the
no one
C side,
does that
done.
though. Very
No one
few
does
people
that,
go
yeah.
over to the other.
My
the other
whole
side.
server that I was on this morning, I could not
Locked.
load a ship
Oh.
larger than a small size ship.
Oh no, man, that's crap.
Yeah, it was not fun because like that was the gameplay that we wanted to play. We had like 5 of us and we wanted to go into Constellation and just goof around, and we couldn't do it because of that. We had tons of people in the server together, and we couldn't do it because of the fact that we couldn't pick up a ship. So it stunk. So that might be a little bug too as well. So consider that, but definitely don't go to the comma rays right now until they get that fixed up, and everyone's experience will be a lot better.
All right. Yeah. So stay away from AI NPCs, otherwise I'm going to yell at you in game.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think it's time. We're going to move on to questions.
Let's do it.
Okay. Let me go here and have this ready. So our first question here is, do you prefer mouse and keyboard over HOTAS? And have you used any HOTAS setups? If so, which ones? So for myself personally, I use keyboard and mouse over HOTAS. It's input control that I enjoy the most. I have used an X55 setup. It was okay. It felt really clunky and uncomfortable for me. And just binding everything was a giant pain in the ass, and trying to learn where all the keys were and what they were. It was more hassle than it was
It's definitely an experience, a learning experience.
And I'm definitely much more efficient with a keyboard and mouse. I personally prefer it. Twerk, what about you?
I use a joystick, but I don't use a throttle at the moment. I do want to go to a throttle, though.
Weren't you doing dual joystick for a while?
I did do dual joystick for a while, but for the same reason as you. There was a ton of key binding to do, and I don't have the time to sit on stream and do a whole stream of key binding, and then the learning of the key binds. Redworms uses a dual setup, and he said, like, I'll sit down with you and I'll help you, and it's just a matter of me having the time to sit there and do it with him, and then learning that. I don't mind the learning it part, because I'm bad enough at the game as it is, so it's not really going to make a difference on how bad I look playing the game, but I definitely want to go to a HOTAS setup. I've always been waiting to see what Star Citizen did with their HOTAS, and I'm not really impressed with what they have so far, because they're really only showing the lower level one. I might be impressed with the higher level one, so I'm on the fence with, like, everyone keeps telling me to go for the Cobra thing, or I really am looking at the Warthog, and then I guess pedals with it. For earlier on roll or whatever. So right now I use joystick and keyboard for, like, the keyboard. I use the strafing keys there. I do boost there, chaff, brake, and decouple. Okay. I do all that there. And then, like, firing and targeting, and that's really it. And missiles are on the joystick. I definitely prefer joystick, though, just for simply for immersion. But yeah, I'm just not going to use any SciTech stuff because of their history that they've had over the last couple of years.
And BoredGamer?
So Bored.
Yeah, so I've used many controllers. I've used the big heavy Warthog. I've used the X52 and X55.
Do you still have them all?
No, so they're all around different people that do stuff for me at the moment. Okay. I do have them, and I can have access to them. So I've tried mouse and stick. I've tried 2 joysticks using 2 Logitech 3D Pros. I've tried some of the more expensive HOTAS setups, and I still prefer mouse and keyboard at the moment. Just because I keep on switching between first person, getting in a ship, flying, landing. I don't want to keep on having to change that, especially when I'm going to be doing videos with VR and stuff as well. So I need something that I can just stay with as a single controller. That I've got some 6th Sense controllers coming to me. They're like the new Razer controllers, the motion control ones, and they're very expensive and they're supposed to be really good. They've got loads of thumbsticks and buttons and stuff on, and are motion sensitive. So hopefully they'll give me a load of functionality for both cockpit and first-person shooter. But I've even used stuff like this. So this is a motion controller gun, which will track. It's like a light gun, but it tracks where it is in the room. So I can run around in Star Citizen. I'll do a video with that actually again at some point.
That's
soon,
awesome.
Now that we've got FPS, but you can. It's pretty good. And you can aim and you can shoot someone in the head pretty easily. But yeah, keyboard and mouse is still God at the moment for me, just because it's easier to use. And I'm almost on the same thing with Chris. If I was traveling around playing Star Citizen and they kept on changing the controls, I'd just use an Xbox joypad.
Yeah.
Because I know it would always kind of do what I wanted it to do.
Yeah.
If you can't be asked with all the controls. I mean, you're not going to get the same functionality or the same precision at all. But, I mean, it's plug and play.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to do. We're here to play Star Citizen. Woo!
There's just so much detail in Star Citizen. There's just not enough there for me with that.
For me, there's too much detail in some of Star Citizen. So, like, we talk about the automated landings and stuff. Some of the stuff I want it to do for me. I was like, yeah, that's great. That's awesome for people that want to do that. I just want to kill and economy and mine and discover. So it's horses for courses, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much
I like
going on in
getting.
Star Citizen.
I don't know about you, Source, but I like getting deep down into finding what like little tweaks I can do to get better. Like every little tweak, and like they give all that with all those like all these crazy keybinds. So like, oh, I can decouple and then do this, or I decouple and boost, or
Yeah,
if
to
I
a certain
decouple and
point, right? To a
you
certain
know?
point.
and they are getting somewhat
the thing
excessive,
for me
I'd say, but yeah.
is I am definitely a min-maxer, and mouse and keyboard for me, not only is it easier for me to use, but
I think it's more
also
effective.
more effective.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I would go with my thing. I use the joystick because it feels right. It feels like when I'm playing the game, I feel like I'm in the game. And when I use the mouse and keyboard, I do not feel like I'm in the game. I may do better and get more kills, and that might be more fun. But for me, I'm not really in it for winning or anything like that. I just want to. When I play video games,
casual.
hey, when I play video games, I've always played games and gotten really immersed in the game and really invested in the game and really invested in my character and everything. And for me, that's what a joystick does. Is it makes that like it's really about the immersion for me.
No, I see, and I love enjoying and loving a game. The problem I have as a gamer, me personally, is that when I get good at a game or really invested in a game, I stop having fun in the same way.
Yeah.
Normally, I'll be sodding about, and dying will be hilarious and really fun. When I get better at the game and really invested in it, like really enjoy it, I start to get annoyed.
I get really competitive.
And I get more competitive. I get really annoyed at myself when I die in a stupid way. I go, I could have done that better. I should have done this better. And then I start to min-max. Yeah, but you definitely enjoy it more. Whereas I will be a pissy little bitch. Yeah. I will be very, very much a rager. So I can edit that out.
I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that I'm like still playing sports now and still get like that competitive thing I get out of my system a couple times a week. So when it comes to the game, I'm just here to relax. I don't know, but I am the same way. Like, because what you're saying has happened to me. Like as I've played longer and played more Arena Commander, I wanted to get better at it. I didn't want to keep getting my ass kicked. I was getting frustrated. I mean, people make fun of how salty I get. That was the reason I was getting salty, because I was getting my ass kicked and I couldn't take it. But at the same time, I was never going to switch away from the joystick, even if it was better. Like that was like my line that I was going to cross. It wasn't going to cross.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, thank you for the question. The next question we have here is from both S00705734 and Alexander201.
I just call him Zoo.
Yeah.
Zoo.
And he asks, do you think advertisements would be accepted by the community as a way to pay for the game? Example, Coca-Cola billboards and racetracks, or videos on buildings in between TV streams, or real-life commercials on billboards like the Eve Jumpgate billboard style or whatever. This is something that they brought up before.
It never really followed up with it.
They never really followed up with
that.
They kind of
AMD.
have. They kind of have.
They did it with the AMD.
Because they've got their own company and game now.
Yeah. But that's it, right? We haven't really seen anything else or heard anything else about it.
Yeah. Wouldn't you have expected them to continue on with this in the future? Like seeing Coca-Cola maybe, or Pepsi, or Mountain Dew and Doritos would probably be really good. Like in the universe at some point, and some sort of lore behind it that they can figure out. The thing is and they never really did.
Well, it's right now it's not a priority at all. And number two, you'd have to have a finished game before going to any companies, for the most part,
or at least a more finished game, right?
Right. So
because really, all the place they can advertise is in like ArtCorp, and how many people are really running around ArtCorp at the moment?
How do you regulate that? That's really odd. Yeah, it's an interesting contract having in-game
They've done it.
They do it. They do it.
They do it in sports games all the time. On like NHL, they have on the boards.
You see, when NHL, it's a little bit different in those sports games. Like you say, that's kind of expected and like almost part of the. It's part of the scene. You expect to see that.
Yeah.
Like on a racing game, you expect to see the cars.
Well, in the space game, you expect to see it. Yeah, you would still see it.
New York City, you walk around.
You'd see it on the side of NPC ships and stuff like that as well, right?
On the side of highways.
The hullers. We know that the hull A, Hull B, Hull C. They have the billboards on the side
And space.
for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they will be there. So
I'd be all right with that. I would
definitely be
it's
okay
more
with it.
immersive.
As long as like Chris said before, as long as it fits within the narrative, right? As
Yes.
long as it's not like, oh, we're advertising our 2015 or I guess 2016 now, 2016 Happy Meal, whatever. Like, you know, as
It's
long
going to
as
be 2946.
right,
Yeah.
as long as they can move it forward to that.
But so as long as they do it in exactly the same way they've done with AMD, they made them create a new company in game, and then they've got lore,
Right.
which is great. And that this adds to the immersion of the universe and aids Star Citizen.
Aids
I think
Star
it's great.
Citizen in their costs and things like that. I mean, for me personally, I would be okay with it. I don't know. I don't think anybody would have any real objections to having something.
Oh,
like
someone
that.
will have an objection. Someone always
people will have
does.
objections, but I think we'll hear a lot less objections to that than maybe, you know, continuing to sell ships or something like that in the future.
Yeah.
'Cause
So.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm done.
Yeah. So I think that pretty much answers that. It would be cool. It would help the economy for Star Citizen.
As long as they futurize it, we're good.
Futurize it.
That's a word.
Our next question.
It is a word. You said it very interestingly.
Yes.
That's all.
From Prototype Test, what feature that we know is currently in development are you most looking forward to seeing released next?
Me and Board are on the same page.
we can't say economy because
Okay.
that's more of an
Planetary
overarching-
landing for me.
Okay.
The feature that we know is currently in development. We know they're working on it. I think that
I
would
just
be
changed my mind.
a really big one.
What? Can't change your mind. You
because
have
while
to
they're
say
arguing,
mining. You
I'm
have
also
to say
gonna
mining.
say some more FPS stuff as well, right? So all of the FPS mechanics and EVA mechanics, I'm really looking forward to, and
Go
that's
ahead,
what I
Lord.
want to see.
Oh no! Come on.
I'll go first.
I'm a miner and I'm an economy player. I'm really hyped about mining. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's not just about mining. There's too many features that make the game that I'm not too excited. I'm so excited about everything coming together. Oh, it's really annoying. Is the Idris a feature? I'm quite excited about the
of course.
Idris
Yeah,
now.
this is a feature. Yeah, like the large
course.
capital ships, getting large
I mean,
capital
yeah.
ships in
For
there.
me,
with the
Ship gameplay.
boarding.
the
Boarding was a
capital
big part of
ships,
that.
the idea of capital ship battles with Idrises versus a Vandal fleet, and it actually be competitive, fun, and you're not knowing the outcome because the AI is relatively good. That is something I've wanted since I played Free Space.
Mhm.
Like, multiplayer. Oh my God. Like, you had that, like a taste of that in Free Space when I played it 11 years ago, 12 years ago, probably longer than that now. Jeez, I'm old, getting old. But yeah, capital ship stuff and mining.
Obviously, mine is mining, but there's a few other things that I'd really like to see. The one thing that honestly, other than mining, that I want to see more than anything now, I'm gonna kick myself. I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth for saying this, but I want to see Star Marine.
Oh.
I want to see Star Marine fully released gameplay with both the Sataball and the one map that we have.
Yeah,
I
Gold
want
Horizons.
to have the Gold Horizon map. Yep, I want to have that game to play. If I'm bored of flying around in a spaceship, I want to have the ability to just have
Jump
an
in.
hour of gameplay where I can just fuck shit up. You
Yeah.
know, and that's really kind of what I want.
I think I'm going
And
to
I-
watch more Sataball than I am going to play it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just something that, like, I just kind of had this epiphany just now that, like, I keep going to Korea Station because I don't really want to do the other stuff anymore. And
Well, there's
the
nothing
only
else
gameplay
to do.
Exactly. And the only gameplay that is, like, sort of different each time, even though it really isn't, is at Korea Station at the moment. So why not make it like a game with a score and something I can get angry at and try and get better at, right? But then the only other thing I would say, which I know like this is kind of like what one feature was kind of like the question, but jump points, being able to jump from one system to the next, when that comes in, that is when this is like official, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that's still going to be a little ways out. Right now we're dealing with a planet. We're not even dealing with the whole system yet.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think those are all the things that we're looking forward to. Boarding I include as part of my FPS stuff. But yeah, the boarding stuff would be really cool as well. But yeah, thank you for the question.
It's a good one.
Next question from the Brock Kelly is, hang on 1 second. I copied it incorrectly.
Oh, Saurus.
I know, right?
Oh my god. Oh, Control C, Control V too much for you. Oh, and you get Proxys to do it.
Okay, right now there's a lot of chatter about the new Corvette. What do you guys think about it, its role, its price, and which manufacturer would you like it to be? Let's start with you, Twerk, this time.
For me, I get less and less interested about these huge ships for some reason. So personally, I'm not super excited about it. I think it would be cool to have a Drake one, even though I don't know if I would necessarily buy it, because I'm more in the ships that interest me are the ones with like all the fancy buttons to press, and I feel like a Drake ship wouldn't have that many, right? But I think it would be cool to see a really large ship Drake style. What its role would be, like a forward base, kind of like a moving base, I think would be cool for militia / pirates, right? So I think that's where I would want to see the Corvette go.
For me, its role would surely be a Corvette. To me, that sums up what it is in my head. Probably because I played so many strategy games and so many warship games and space games.
I'm not familiar with exactly like a Corvette is versus other things.
So for me, the way I'd use a Corvette, because you could outfit them for lots of different stuff, you really could. I'd use them for anti-fighter cover. So they'd be a semi-mobile base where they could store a couple of ships maybe, and they'd be there to interfere with other ships to try and take out bombers and fighter wings. Maybe go after large capital ships. Destroyers would annihilate them because the destroyers go and they'd be like blown apart. They're supposed to be small and get round places. Yeah, pretty nimble. You could have them as like mine layers and stuff like that. That's the sort of things you can outfit them for. I think that me and Saurus both share the fact we want Drake to make that Corvette because it would fucking rock. And it would do what it says on the tin.
I feel like you can choose any manufacturer and it'll probably be pretty cool. But I think Drake would be really unique.
So with Drake, I want a Corvette that is built to be slightly modular and to just do its purpose. I want it to be quite good at being military and to be nice and modular. And Drake does that cheaply. It skimps on the stuff that you don't need the bells or the whistles. Drake does what it says on the tin. You should be able to repair all the Drake stuff with literally some gaffer tape and a screwdriver. And you should be able to do it all yourself. And that's the way I kind of see Drake kind of like owned by militias and places that don't have the best repair yards or don't have access to great repair yards. They just have to do it themselves. And I just love the idea of Drake doing that.
Obviously for me, Drake Corvette ship, this is something that I would obviously spend money on. It's for what its exact purpose is. I like the idea of the ships being very modular, so I like being able to change that out. I just like it to be like a all-purpose ship that I can fit out. That's why I like the Caterpillar so much, right? Like it's an all-purpose ship that I can make a specific whatever I want. I can make it a mobile shop. I can make it a mining ship or a salvage ship or a troop transport or a gun ship.
Multitude of a few things, right?
All kinds of stuff. Or I can sort of balance it out for whatever I need it for. And that's sort of why I like Drake in general. is the ability to sort of, you have one ship, but in reality it's like a bunch of different ships that you can only fly one at a time. So
Yeah.
in terms of price,
I never even thought. I didn't answer that part.
like depending on how functional and how large it is, I don't think it needs to go above like 500, 550. But it would. I'm talking about the price.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant the length. So what?
No.
What?
No.
550 meters.
550
That's quite
meters.
big.
Yeah.
That's
No.
not a cool.
Depend, like I said, depending
Price
on its
is
size.
interesting.
But
I think 550 is probably about right. 500, 550.
Yeah.
That's in
Well,
my head,
if
that's
it's
how
what I'm
okay,
thinking
they
it
sold the
is.
original Idris Corvette for $1,250, right?
it was 1,000 for the end.
1,000. Yeah.
Okay, so 1,000. Do you really think they would cut it in half?
Sure. Because the Idris is a lot bigger.
The Idris is a lot
No.
bigger now, but they did sell it at that price, thinking that
Right.
it was gonna be a Corvette.
Right, but everything's sort of changed. I don't know. I don't.
I don't know.
It's a good point. It's how big is a Corvette to them?
Yeah.
But then again, at the same time, it has to be less
the
than Idris because
like,
the Idris is bigger.
The original
and that's how much
Idris
they sell.
size was like what, 3/4 of what the Idris is now.
Yeah,
Are we thinking that a Corvette's going to be like 890 jump size?
Yeah.
probably.
Maybe a little bit
So you'd
wide,
have
obviously wider.
Right.
Yeah.
890 jump was 600,
And they wanted it to be rare.
and that's like a expensive luxury thing. So
Yeah.
Drake is cheaper.
and Drake is
Drake
cheaper.
is a lot cheaper. Yeah.
Um,
So
we have to wait and see, I suppose. But I want
I think
that. It would be great
550
to see
might
Drake.
be okay. At first, I was
that's
like,
fine.
no, it's got to be more. But now that we kind of talked through it,
That's my recommended price to CIG.
Right.
That's how much I'd spend on it. So-
if I was to give a recommended price, I'd say $1, Bob. $1.
Thanks. Good job. Good job, Turk. Take that under advisement.
Then I'd buy it.
anyways, thank you for the question. Hopefully that answers what you were looking for on the Corvette, the hypothetical Corvette. Our next question comes from Successful Geek. When it comes to VR stuff, would you recommend an Oculus or equivalent setup or a Track IR?
I will not answer this question at all because I have no experience with any of them.
The answer is really easy in the way that he formed the question. When it comes to VR stuff,
It's obviously Oculus.
it's going to be Oculus or an equivalent setup as opposed to Track IR. And now, for what you want to actually do and what you want out of it is going to be different to every person, right? Like, for example, Twerk thinks it's a gimmick and he would rather just use Track IR, right? I know this is from our conversations before. I'm not just putting words in his mouth. So
No, it's pretty. I think VR is a little gimmicky for now. Yeah.
yeah, whereas myself, the idea of being immersed and not just doing this at a screen, but like actually being able to like look around and everything.
I've never used it though, so
I've never used it either. I've just done a
Okay.
lot of research on it.
we're definitely going to try it at PAX.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So my opinion is my opinion right now, but it could change.
And mine will probably just get stronger. But it's, for me, it is something I am very, very, very interested in. I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass for not backing the Kickstarter now because they all got one with the Oculus. Right?
You have no idea. I almost got an Oculus, and
So
I was
did
like,
I.
I'll wait until
So
they're
did
closer.
I. And then
Yeah.
I said DK1, and I had one in the cart, and I said no, I'll wait. And then DK2, and oh my god, I almost bought it like 6 times.
I've got a DK. I bought a DK1 and a DK2.
Yeah.
They're not giving me free Oculus for that.
Yeah. And yeah, so it's, I think I'm going to try to get some money together for the Oculus. It is something I'm very interested in, and it was something that I said as soon as the consumer version's out that I
What I would say,
yeah.
genuinely, is for streamers that the HTC Vive is probably going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Why
it's
is
got
that?
It's got the camera on the front,
It's
and
got
that
the camera on
camera
the front. It's down below by your nose.
it allows you to see the world around you in monochrome, so like Tron vision.
Well,
so
not
you can
only
see where your mouse and keyboard is.
Not
you can
only
drink.
that, it also has the ability to like model things kind of in the game, so you can it'll like track them, so like have like outlines of your keyboard and stuff like that.
You can track your hands as well, so it's basically reverse augmented reality. It's putting reality-ish into your virtual experience, which is really an interesting way of using virtual reality.
Think of it like a Kinect on the front.
Okay.
Yeah, reverse Connect, because it's putting it.
Yeah.
I really liked it now, because after my Oculus experience, I did some more research into the Vive and went, this has got a feature that I now consider essential for a VR setup. But if it's incredibly expensive again, I'll be ragey.
Once again, we don't know when that's going to be, when that's going to release.
Well, it's probably going to be released. Probably the first wave of stuff will be in April for both of those products.
Well, for the Oculus for sure. But we haven't heard anything from Vive at all.
No, well, Vive has said that their current estimate is April 2016. That's their estimate.
Interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they respond to the pricing and everything. For Oculus
so I'm worried that they might raise their pricing just because they can now. They can go, well,
or
that price
they might lower it and just destroy.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
because they might just go.
Because look, if they can afford to lower it at all, right? Now the thing is, this is going to kind of turn into more of a VR in general thing, but a lot of people were expecting the price for the Oculus to be a lot less than it was, around the 400 to 500, like 400 to 499 max, not the 599 plus taxes plus shipping. Right, everybody assumed it would be like $400 free shipping, and we're good from there, and so that threw a lot of people off. And now that's apparently going by Oculus staff. That's heavily subsidized by Facebook, right? Because we all know that Facebook bought Oculus and was putting money into it and doing all this other stuff. Now HTC is a phone company, and they make mobile phones for the most part, and they are not doing the greatest at the moment. They're not doing, I wouldn't say they're doing terrible right now, but they're not doing awesome either. And they are
on an iPhone or anything,
right? So they're not being subsidized by anybody. So it's really interesting to see what they're going to do with the pricing. If they can afford to drop it, it might make sense, and it might make them more money in the long term, because we now know a lot of people are waiting for the Vive, and if they can get a mass market of that, then they'll make more money in the long term.
I feel that the Vive will get heavily subsidized by Steam.
Yeah,
is what I feel.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is all they have to do is bundle it, like you said earlier, with some
Source 2 games. Boom.
Right, and people will raise. Portal 3, Half-Life 3, anything like that, that's made for VR. We already know that Steam's backing them, which is a huge help out of the gate for sure. But we don't know what the final specs are on the Vive, and we don't know what the price is going to be for the Vive either. So that's something I think we're going to have to wait and sort of see.
I mean, we do know that we know that it's probably going to be more than the Oculus. That's what they originally stated. And now, because they're an oligopoly at the market at the moment, so the only two manufacturers making PC-based VR systems that will be anything that we will be using in the next year will be the Vive and the Oculus. Yeah? Right. So they basically own an oligopoly on that. There's no need for the Vive to lower its price below that of Oculus, because the Oculus have to respond by lowering their price. So all they need to do is set the similar price or slightly above. Yeah,
because in hardware, from what we know, they're already including more, right? They have the controllers, they have the lighthouses, it has the forward-facing camera, and it has that scalability that Oculus doesn't have.
Well, the other thing is the Oculus doesn't come with the motion controllers at that price, that really
No.
expensive price.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was going to be a fully inclusive package. It does come with the joypad, and it comes with headphones, but it's got headphones.
And I've got a controller. I don't want another one.
Yeah, I've already got a controller.
We have like 5 Xbox One controllers in the house. If I really want an Xbox One controller, I'll go grab one of those ones.
That's what they said. They said the reason they're bundling it with an Xbox controller is because everyone's got an Xbox controller. And I was like, what? That makes no sense. That's
How
true.
does that-
But, I don't know. I mean, that's one of the reasons they used for bundling it with an Xbox controller. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm in a wait and see mode. That's where I'm at. Wait and see.
Good choice.
Okay, let's go with this one. Magnetron asks this next question. Do you think they will remake the current Holo table to something that not sucks?
That's a great question.
Yes, but when?
Well,
They're starting. They're starting to do good things.
Yeah, but it's
Like
still the
that.
same
Yeah.
thing. So when?
I don't know how much
It's
longer
still
it's
such
going to
a piece of
be.
shit.
I don't know how much longer it's going to be a Holo table in the hangar, and it's going to move to
Yeah.
Mobi-Glass. We have Mobi-Glass
true.
in now. We can just pull it up. They just need to make an app for it and basically move it on to that, right? There's no reason for it to be a permanent fixture.
I like the idea that you can get a Holo table, and you have a Holo table with an Aurora. And it's
If
one of
you
the
want,
first things
yeah.
you try and upgrade. You go, look at this old piece of shit tech.
Yeah.
It's the Holo table. You're like, oh, I'm taking hours doing all my stuff, and it's really crappy and
I
broken.
can't
Build it into
see where
law.
this gun goes.
Build all the stuff that doesn't work in Star Citizen into law, and make players that start the game use
Have
all
to
that.
deal with it.
It's not pay to win; it's pay to not be annoyed. I don't want
Yeah.
the Holo table. Yeah, I like that.
I never even thought of the Mobi-Glass thing.
Yeah, but that's
I
what it's
never
gonna be
even-
wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, it never even. That's why we haven't seen it, because they're just going to implement it into like the cargo tab of the Mobi-Glass or something,
Yeah, and then, or I assume you can,
or another
no,
tab.
actually,
You know,
well, yeah, it will probably all be on the
equipment tab or
Mobi-Glass.
something.
But even as the Holo table is now, and they have increased it, and they have slowly introduced more and more things into it, it very easily would move into the Mobi-Glass, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're gonna keep the Holo table as it is, but it will definitely get better in time. That is something that they know they need to work on and make function properly.
Mm-hmm. I think they just ran into so many issues last year with the netcode and stuff that they kind of just had to prioritize other things before they can get to it. I think I was
Yeah.
almost positive we would have had it last year, but because of all the stuff that happened,
Yeah.
that we never did, you know?
So yeah, hope that answers your question, but it's definitely
Yeah.
going to be less sucky in the future.
Something that not sucks. Yeah.
Less sucky. Wow.
Our next question comes from Nighthawk Zale. This is a long one here. With the ship pipeline pretty much solid now, as shown by the Saber's turnover, do you think they'll start dropping gameplay mechanic prototypes for mining, cargo, science, medical, etc.? And do you see those presents changing the types of ships we see being churned out?
I missed medical in my video. Oh dear, that's an annotation I gotta do.
Yeah. Okay, so
Indeed.
the ship pipeline itself, yeah, I think any of the future ships coming out, any more concept ships that we do get, that we will start to see them, especially if they're smaller. Like let's say theoretically, we know the Dragonfly is not coming anytime soon, but say they do the
Nope.
Dragonfly, or even the Prowler, we know I think is the next one coming out. Depending on its size, it should be out fairly quickly, just like the Saber was. The Saber was pushed out really fast.
Oh god.
Forgetting everything. Now the thing is once those ships become flyable, we are going to see the gameplay prototypes for mining, cargo, science, all of that stuff when they get those ships ready for prime time and flying. Right?
I don't
That's-
think, yeah.
That's the whole thing, and we'll even start to see more of the mechanics for that, right? So, for example, for mining, we'll see like mining lasers or mining attachments that you can add to your weapons hardpoints and things like that. Just like for salvaging, you'll see that, okay, we can actually start to use tractor beams and put those things on there. And we're going to see a wider variation of those kind of things that we're going to be able to do that. And people are going to mess around with the ships that they own already with that kind of stuff, and they're also going to mess around with the new ships that are capable of doing that. I think later on, because right now our only mining ship is the Orion, right, which is the biggest that we
don't expect to see it anytime soon.
Yeah, but we might see smaller ones come in, or smaller
modularity,
or equipment for modularity for say a Caterpillar or a 300 series or whatever to do any sort of lighter mining.
So that's exactly where I was going to go with it.
Do we have a modular industry ship?
No. They're all specific.
They're all very specific at the moment.
That's
but that's how they
were
doing things at the time.
I'd like to see a mining ship come in, which is basically not a mining ship. It's
a modular industrial ship? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I really want. We'll do it for the mining mechanic because we want a smaller miner, but does anything industry, can set it up how we want. Yeah. That's what I think it's missing. It's missing a couple of ships that are multi-role because they went, we don't want to do stuff it can do everything.
Yeah.
Maybe the closest thing to that is the Caterpillar.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Right.
Well, we know that the Caterpillar will have salvage mechanics, right, as part of the store thing. Who knows if it'll have mining stuff or anything else?
I don't know how it could.
We know it'll do hauling. We know it's gonna. That's the whole thing of the Caterpillar is very modular. So maybe that's the one they're talking about. But it would be cool to see another larger size ship, closer to the size of an Orion or a Hull D or a Reclaimer, that kind of does a little bit of everything or has that modularity.
Now, with this question, I think we have to speculate, and we are speculating on this a lot. But I think one of the things that we might be able to safely speculate is that certain things like mining, cargo, and exploration will likely not drop with their big feature ship like the Orion, Hull E, and the
Reclaimer.
Constellation, Reclaimer. Well, yeah, Salvage too is another one that likely won't come in with those ships.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I honestly think smaller. You're thinking that
I'm thinking they'll bring the
there.
mechanics in, and then they'll bring the Carrack. Thank you. That's the ship I was looking for exploration. So I think we'll likely see maybe dumbed down versions of that mechanic before we see things like the huge Orion and stuff like that.
But
what do we have now that's sort of dumbed down? That there's something that's in, but it's not in repair. So see how we see repair now before we have the Crucible? Like repair is in, your ship repairs, but it might not be fully flushed out the way that they specifically wanted us to have it.
Right, there's no repair operator or anything
exactly.
like that.
And there's no repair gun or anything like that inside the ship, but we can repair.
There's no need for it to be in game until they've got all the ships done, or the sort of.
Yeah.
So for Squadron 42, actually maybe mining is going to be part of Squadron 42.
It is,
because I think Shubin's a mining facility.
Yeah. Shubin is my huge mining facility. So
maybe they will. Maybe you're right. Okay.
But just remember, different people like it's. I think it's really going to start to get a little separate soon. So they're separating. Certain ships are being done in certain places, and certain mechanics are likely being done in Texas. Yeah. Like mining and
you also
cargo
have to remember,
like
some of the big ships are getting done fairly quickly, though, too, right? Like the Idris, I think, is almost done, if not done already.
But how long have they been working on that for?
We saw the Morrow tour, didn't we? And there was those leaked assets and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's far along.
Well, yeah, the Javelin.
They're working the Javelin alongside the Idris.
Yeah. Well, the Javelin's also going to be used in Squadron 42. So it's important to get those interiors done. I think with a lot of the stuff, the Squadron 42 stuff, I think is so far along. Like
a lot farther along than we think.
Yes, yeah.
Or that they've showed
Especially,
us.
well, especially people that have had tours around the UK offices that they don't talk about. They have
Did
said,
you go?
no, but I've been told by people,
Okay.
and they were
Needs to
like,
go.
yeah, some of the stuff's amazing. And I haven't seen it before. They haven't talked about it. It's amazing. It's like they're very far
IDD
along.
still gets me with this one. He said he went to the Foundry 42 office in Germany
Mm-hmm.
and said, "You have no fucking idea
Yeah,
what
yeah,
they're
okay.
working on." So
Yeah.
and he said he said this before the planetary landings, and he goes, "That's the tip of the iceberg. You have no idea, no clue. It is amazing because that office is the one working on everything, right? So there's things that we just don't know about, and
Maybe I should take a week off, and I should go to the UK offices and the German offices, and then come
I
back
think you'll be
incredibly
blown-
hyped for the year.
yeah, you'll be incredibly hyped and just not be able to tell anybody anything.
Yeah,
Well,
except
so-
for us.
The issue is obviously with that is that I want to be able to produce videos and stuff like that, and obviously I can't because it's like
Yeah.
proper NDA. Now
Yeah.
I can't even use that stuff to influence my videos because it will still
No.
be breaking NDA. So I need to, I don't know, I don't think of a way around it. Well, as in so that I could obviously not break any form of NDA, but still talk about my channel. No more Star Citizen, guys. I've been to Germany. I can't talk about anything.
I'll see you in a year.
Yeah,
But,
Oh,
like,
God.
Yeah, so I mean, he's saying that there's some crazy stuff being worked on. They might be far along on these mechanics already. They talked about mining a couple months ago that they were working on that mechanic.
Aaron,
Do you think they just
Aaron
stopped?
talked to me about
I
mining.
know. Aaron said a lot of
Citizen
stuff
Con.
about mining. I
Yeah.
remember you telling me. And you weren't the only one that told me. Like, a bunch of people said Aaron went nuts saying mining is coming and like all this shit. He was just drunk.
Such a dude.
Yeah, so I didn't hear anything about the Orion coming anytime soon, right? So we're likely going to see these mechanics before we see the big ships that come with them. So especially the things like exploration, mining, cargo, things that you can do with every other ship. You just don't have like this super badass ship that does it. Things like medical, I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
But-
you won't necessarily need a ship for medical either.
Exactly, because you can like, I mean, we can heal each other.
And,
Well, we were able to heal each other.
and
Not
we have
anymore.
a small cutlass red as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah, like bounty hunting we should be able to do without anything huge, right? So I can see the ship pipeline not meaning anything anymore.
yeah, I think
Right.
in
In terms
general, the
of
ships are gonna
gameplay
be-
mechanics.
the ships are going to be pumped out fairly quickly, and they're going to get the gameplay mechanics out
Yeah.
before the big ships. I think
Like
is
I
what it
feel like
boils down to.
concept ships are meant for game mechanics. Like that's what they were kind of using them for to debut. Well, this is how mining's going to be like. But to actually have it in game, you don't need to debut a ship with it to explain it to us. When it's in game, you just show it to us
Yeah.
with whatever module's on it, right?
As long as it's
So-
that mechanic's in before the ship that is meant for
Yes.
it is in.
Yes.
And that's
Yes,
all
which
that really
I mean,
matters.
which is what I think is going to happen.
But yeah, so thanks for the question, and we're gonna move on to the next one here. This is from Vizo66. Do you know of any recent news or updates regarding the Dragonfly? Could you estimate when the Dragonfly might go on concept sale? So they actually just brought this up not too long ago. They brought this up and a couple other ships up. About
I'm going to
this.
grab the link for him while you answer the question. There's
Yeah, if
actually
you-
like a post. I'll bring it up.
Okay, perfect. So if you also want to send that link to me, and I can put it in the YouTube video as well.
Okay.
So they said that they still want to bring that in, but it's not going to be anytime soon. They're going to focus on working on the ships that we have already before they start bringing in more of these ships that aren't necessarily needed right away. When that might go on concept sale, I don't know if it'll ever go on a concept sale. We might not see it until after the game's already been released. We know it's something they're definitely interested in, alongside some of the other ships as well. Like, what was the other ship that they were really interested in bringing in?
Terrapin.
The Terrapin, that's right.
It's the same. It's in the same post.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember reading about the entire thing. So I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon. And it might never go on a concept sale. It might just get put into the game because the game may be up by then. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add to that.
No, I mean they kind of squashed it for us, right? With the link, they basically said it is not in the plans at all right now. The only reason it was mentioned, and like I guess they were kind of like sorry for mentioning it, was because we, the community team, were excited about that ship, and then it kind of turned into it's getting made, and they didn't really ever say that it was getting made.
Pretty much any ship that has a reasonable amount of interest, even if they say they're not going to make it, they probably will at some point.
At some point, yeah.
When they get enough time and resources. That could be a year or two after release even. And getting more community stuff in, getting more community-driven ships, also more community-built ships, I think is going to be some of the lifeblood for Star Citizen. So, yeah. I want space motorbikes, I must admit.
Yeah.
So I hope they include that earlier rather than later.
The concept is super cool for that ship, which is, I think, why everyone's excited. I want to be in a motorcycle gang.
I was really annoyed when they chose the Reliant over the Terrapin and
like,
Me too.
motorcycle.
And it never turned out to be an egg even. What is this?
Yeah.
But I actually quite like the Reliant now.
Reliant ended up being pretty cool.
Yeah, it did. Because it got designed by someone going, I'm going to make a tribute to the B-Wing. And working on Star Wars. So he made a B-Wing.
So thank you for the question, Vizzo. And our next one here is from IDDKFA. Now, we kind of discussed this question in a previous video about CIG selling ships. So after the game's released. But CIG selling ships or ship packages after release for hard cash, where would you draw the line? So for me personally, I'm okay for the starter ships. Everything up to, like, let's say the Hornet, right? Anything beyond that is sort of going against what they said. Anything before that, and it's like, yeah, it makes sense. It's a tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 starter ship, and that comes with the game. But that's what that's where I would draw the line personally. I don't know about you guys.
So for me, it would be very much what I think. So I don't really care because people in my head, you're more than welcome to spend loads of money on buying a big ship. You're more juicy for me. You're adding more things into my verse, and if I'm ever going to be fighting you, then I'm more likely to make more money from you. That's the idea in my head. But what I think's appropriate is you're allowed to buy a single package within your account, and that package should be $150 or less, maximum. In my head, I think that's about appropriate. That people won't go, it's pay to win. And
it just starts with a different ship. You only get one ship. I think they should only give you one ship. It's not like, oh, you can buy this ship after as well and start with all these ships. You just choose what game you want, and you get, whatever ship that is goes along with it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
I'm kind of the same with it. Like, obviously, they'll be selling when they're selling the game, like a box or whatever. Or you go to Steam or whatever, you're gonna get your Aurora or your, and I guess you can just get to choose. And I'm okay with that. Going up to a Hornet, I guess I'm okay with that if you consider it like buying the
deluxe
package, and then you get a Hornet with it. So up to $100, around like that price range, okay.
Yeah.
But anything above that, I think I might have. Again, same. That's getting
when it's into the selling ships after they said they
after. And to be clear, this is again speculation on what we think will happen. There was an interview where Chris mentioned we have no plans of doing anything different than selling UEC at the moment. If we don't think, or if we're not making enough money to keep the servers open, we will get together
And have a discussion then.
and we will have a discussion about it. That is it. That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean he didn't say we're going to have a discussion about selling ships. We will have a discussion about what makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's it. And whatever we decide is what we decide, is what he said. So this question is kind of, it's done. He just hit it. It's over. So for now, they're not going to sell ships after. If it becomes an issue where they're not able to keep the servers open, they're going to figure it out.
All right. Well, thank you, IDD, for the question. Moving on to the next one here from Teknoaxe. Oh, that's the wrong keyboard.
I hate when that happens.
What aspect of the game scares you the most in terms of the devs getting it right? Or more appropriately, them not being able to get it right? For me,
oh wow, that's a loaded question.
For me, it would be getting the proper amount of players in an instance, because I think that has a huge impact on how the game is going to be played and how people are going to look at it.
Yeah.
Just
But
the
for
amount of action, not only from, I guess not even for just from players, but from NPCs as well. In an instance, how they size the instances and how well they do the instancing, I think is the most important thing that we still don't know. I mean, they're working on it right now. Obviously, we're testing it right now in 2.1. We're currently on 2.1c, but it's yeah.
That's, I wasn't thinking, like, how I was looking at the question was like what game mechanic, but I don't think any of us can say anything other than that. Right?
Well, so for me, they need to get the economy bang on. Because if the economy is even slightly unbalanced, it will be exploited to fuckery. I mean, I know there's going to be one human for every 9 other NPCs. And that will help balance the economy. If they don't get that economy perfect, I mean, what's the point in doing half the missions? What's the point in doing these trade runs? That needs to be really, really well thought out.
Yeah, everything needs to be balanced in the sense that I can do player transport and be able to make a similar living as a miner or a trader or a pirate may. I don't think it should be any advantage or disadvantage to going to one type of gameplay. I don't want to see like miners just doing everything.
And that's really hard to do. You have to balance the economy with the roles, the risk reward of each role. And you have to balance I want to be able to make the same amount of money as an explorer as I do as a trader, but there might be more risk reward in doing exploration, so that also needs to be balanced in there. That is really hard to do. So I hope they get that right. And as an economy player, I mean, that's pretty much the main thing I'm focusing on. Slightly more than the combat, slightly more than the flight mechanics, to be brutally honest. That's the kind of way that my mind works. It's all about the numbers.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the question. I think we pretty much covered that, right? Like the economy and the scale of everything are the two big things. I don't think there's any issues with animations coming in or sounds coming in. All of that stuff, I'm pretty confident that is going to
We'll eventually get it, yeah.
Those will be pretty straightforward. Our next question here from Cyberwolf. What ship should be up next flyable? The Reliant, the Vanguard, or the Saber?
It's Reliant, probably, isn't it?
Maybe
Saber.
Well, the thing is, the Saber and the Vanguard are both in the hangar already. So I would probably say, I think the Vanguard's been worked on the most out of all of those. So, but the Saber's been like super fast, and so is the Reliant. Even though the Reliant isn't in hangar yet, I'm probably gonna go Saber, Vanguard, Reliant. If not Saber and Vanguard at the same time.
Yeah, it's either, for me, it's Vanguard first, then Saber, or both at the same time.
Oh
Reliant
no,
last.
for me, it's Vanguard last, and then Saber, Reliant, kind of similar time.
When they showed the ship pipeline, did you see anything? Like, the Vanguard was just white. There was no texture, like there's
Nothing.
nothing on it. And then the other ones
Well,
were
the
all
interior
they're in
had
our hangar.
texture, but yeah.
Yeah, they're in our hangar already.
Yeah.
I still feel that I don't know. It's just my gut. It's my gut, mate. Deal with it. I'll make a video and then back it up with my own video. I go, look, there's proof,
Go with
mate.
your gut, bro. Go with your gut.
Yeah, so probably the Saber or the Vanguard, to be honest. The next question we have is from UFG Man. Do you expect players to be able to loot and keep weapons, armors, clothes, backpacks, etc. from other players we kill in the persistent universe? That kind of answers itself. Also, will those items be insurable or lost when you die? Okay, I'm going to get you guys to cover that first because I have a package here.
Okay. Well, already you can take people's weapons. Like, when you kill somebody in Korea Station, you can pick up their weapon. I'm going to try and talk quietly so it doesn't echo in his headphones because he put it right next to his mic. But as insurable, we don't know if weapons are going to have insurance on them. I would assume no, because they're not really expensive.
So I hope you'll be able to insure everything if you want to.
Ugh, please, no. That's so Careberry.
I know it's Careberry, but
I
mean,
hate that.
why wouldn't you be able to do that? I mean, it's going for a universe where players and the NPCs effectively want to make money. So why not allow the insurance of those weapons?
Because
makes sense.
When you kill people, you want to take their shit. When you kill somebody, you want to take their stuff, and you want it to hurt. When they come for you and you defend yourself, like, you want it to hurt. When you're looting them, when you loot somebody, it's I got your shit, and so you aren't getting it back. You have to go earn it again, right? Like I'm telling you, I always go back to Ultima Online. When they went and put insurance on things and you couldn't take their armor that they were wearing, everybody went. Now they have the most buffed up, beefy armor, the craziest shit, and you can't take it from them unless they run out of money in their bank and it got uninsured.
So I still think you should be able to insure it to get UEC. So what the idea is that you can insure your Titan suit, which there's 2 of in the universe. Yeah? Your super rare alien Titan suit that you've made somehow, yeah? You can insure it for 10,000 UEC or whatever, yeah? You don't get another one back when it dies. You just insure it, and it's cost you 3,000 UEC to insure it.
And you get the money value of it back?
Yeah, you get the money back. Because
that.
They've talked about, like, yeah, you lose your Idris, you get another one built. That could take a week.
Yeah.
There might not be any parts. So for me, the insurance should be available, but it shouldn't necessarily give you back the stuff that you had. And for some things, it should be really expensive. They go, sorry, you want me to insure your suit of combat armor? Yeah, so you're going to be shot at, yeah? That's going to be expensive to insure. Because we know you're using it for the purpose of being shot at.
Yeah. I want to be able to take your fucking wedding ring when I kill you.
But this is what I mean when the economy needs to be balanced. Yes, hurt, risk, and reward are important.
Absolutely,
but also,
they're dire. They have to be in.
Insurance should be available for players that want to do it, and it should be an appropriate value. Not too cheap, not too expensive, but a nice... It's really hard to balance. And yes, I do want people to be hurt when they lose stuff, because otherwise you're not going to feel a sense of completion. You're not going to feel a sense of, oh my god, I've just survived an alien encounter, I've been chased across the ship, I was out, it took me 3 hours to get home, and I got back, and this is my story, this is amazing. Otherwise you're not going to have that.
Exactly.
So you're totally right. But I still think there needs to be some level of insurance that is viable on pretty much everything. You've bought an alien, you found an alien artifact which is unique. You should be able to insure that. You should.
But you won't. You shouldn't. You will never get it back.
You'll never get it back.
The value of whatever the insurance company decided the value of it was on. I can accept that, but never. I don't want you to be able to get your gun back. None of that shit.
Yeah,
because whatever, if you worked your you worked your ass off to get your gun tuned just how you want it, and then you just take it from them. Oh, it feels so good when somebody like that. That was the best thing ever. Is when you killed somebody in Ultima Online and they forgot to insure their shit, and you
You're a
open
monster.
their backpack, and you just were like, let me grab that shit before somebody else does, and then you put on their suit at the bank where they can't attack you, and then you just rub it in their face. Like,
So did
you're a
Optima Online,
fucking
was
idiot.
that was something insured meant it was like stuck in the backpack, you couldn't take it out? Is that insurance? Like it was
My camera's going out again. But yeah, like if something was insured, that meant that it automatically deducted money from your bank account, and then it basically there was a time where things were blessed, and you weren't able to take them from players, and then so that it basically made them blessed for that time, and now it comes back around. Like, so then if you die again, you have to pay again. And it tells you, like, how many deaths all of your insurer items have. So, like, let's say I have 197 deaths before it goes away. So when they took that away, it just... There was no... PvP died because there was no risk versus reward.
Yeah.
Like, it was... You worked hard at getting that weapon working, and then you lost it when you died. So people never, work that hard on these like crazy suits and these crazy builds. They went out there and fought. Mm-hmm. And now
it's a good reason why I fly the Hornet with a stock loadout, is because I don't want to have to pay the insurance on upgraded weapons and stuff like that. I just want to get good with the stock Hornet, and then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, but if you're going to min-max, you know you're going to be going with...
Some stuff probably will be totally uninsurable. Like,
yeah.
So, like, it might be like a general thing. So, like, if you modify your weapon, like as you said, you tweaked your weapon as you want it. No. The insurance company will not insure modified weapons, because that's the sort of thing that they might say. They might go, "No, we're not going to insure that," or it's been insured, but you've tweaked it afterwards. Well, that's now.
Well, you get the base weapon or something back, or
or something
just voided.
Like somebody called me the wedding ring collector in chat. This is what I said.
But yeah, for me, I expect people to be able... We can already pick up weapons that people drop when they die. That's already a thing. I don't know how much I missed because I was dealing with that, which
you missed a lot.
But yeah, so I'm just going to assume that he answered your question. And then we're going to
I was called a savage.
One.
Yeah, you are a savage.
He's a savage, this guy.
I'm a Care Bear. I've never been called a Care Bear.
Where'd my mic go? I think I clicked a button by accident and my mic disappeared. Sorry.
There you go.
Or it just turned itself off. It's starting to go now, but sorry, guys.
No, that's good. That's fine. It's in between questions.
Survived.
From the Steadpaw, our next question.
How many more questions are we doing?
This will be the last one.
Cool. That makes sense. Cool.
Okay. So, from Steadpaw, he asks, how often do you think ships should be balanced to fall in line with what is available? And do you think too much could create a massive imbalance when new ships are brought to the playable universe? I think I know where you're going with this. I think a lot of people think like the Super Hornet and whatever is super overpowered and everything, when in actual fact it's balanced for what it is for the most part. I mean, I'm sure everything can use a little bit of tweaks still, and will receive tweaks throughout the development and even after the game's released. But to say that, oh, everything needs to be able to kill everything else is kind of a fallacy, right? Like, the Hornet is made for combat. There's ships that are made for combat. There's ships that aren't made for combat, right? You look at Freelancer and stuff, or a Constellation, and you're like, oh, you know, 2 Hornets can take out a Constellation right now. And part of that is due to broken mechanics with the Constellation and the turrets and stuff like that. But another part of that is those are 2 like space superiority fighters against a generalist multi-crew ship that isn't made for combat. That isn't like supposed to be like that. Like going and brawling with Hornets. That's not its job. So I think what needs to happen is there needs to be better clarification of what these ships are for and what they're capable of in game, because I think a lot of people are really confused as to, oh, all ships should be able to fight at a certain level, or all ships should be able to do something at a certain level. And we're going to see, especially as a lot of these other mechanics that we were talking about earlier come in, some ships aren't going to be able to do anything. You know, some ships aren't even going to be able to fight, right? A good example of that is the Reliant, the news van. It doesn't have any weapons.
Yeah.
Right? So how is it going to protect itself from somebody attacking it? Nothing. It's going to have to try and run away or have protection around it. Right? And you're going to have to you're going to have to sort of use things around you. But yeah, I don't in terms of balancing, I don't think they should be working on balancing right now. As long as the weapons all work the same when you swap them from one ship to another, that's all that really matters. They need to balance the weapons. They don't need to balance the ships.
That's exactly what I was going to say. When we talk about ship balance, we're talking about maneuverability, boost, the amount of time that you can boost, your speed, cruise speed, all things like that. I think when everybody says balance, we're really talking about weapons balance here. I mean, I guess ship balance is also the weapon sizes on each spot.
Yeah.
But we're really talking about weapons balance when people are talking about balance, because people are rolling with, these ridiculous shotgun type Hornets, and it's not the Hornet that's unbalanced, it's the weapons that people are putting on them that are, and the ability to put multiple of said weapons on there. That's where they need to figure out, and I think maybe that'll come in with the component system, and maybe they're kind of just leaving, well, it drains this much power. Maybe they're just kind of saying fuck it for right now, and when the component system comes in and they have that, X amount of power plants in this ship, and they drain this much power, then you're going to see a lot more balance towards these things and stuff like that. So I just, it's not really the ship balance, it's the weapons balance that's the issue. If there is any issue at the moment, we're in alpha.
Mm-hmm.
We're in an alpha.
For me, obviously the balance is important, but we can't make any form of judgment on balance until, well, firstly, the new item system and size system's fully in.
Yeah.
But also until much closer to the game when we have everything. They don't know how to balance it yet. They've got no clue. There's so much stuff
they clearly
that's still
have
coming.
no clue. Yeah,
Well, yeah, they obviously have a rough idea, but I mean they're trying everything. Occasionally, we get these patches for Arena Commander and stuff. That's just like, this weapon's broken. Well, the reason it's broken and they don't patch it out is because they're testing something.
They don't want you to play with it. They want you to play with something else.
Yeah, so it's too early to tell for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too early to know.
But I think that wraps it up for this episode of Redacted.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
Where can we find you guys?
Go ahead, Board.
You can find me on the YouTubes at BoredGamer UK and on the Twitters with the same names, and also over at the Redacted.tv website and forums, where I do lots and lots of articles there continuously. So you should look at my stuff, because I am in the top 312 YouTubers that do Star Citizen, at least.
At least the top 312.
At least. Maybe.
At least.
And I've got lots of good stuff planned for 2016. Less crap, more good. And if you're after more good and less crap, then maybe you could consider looking at my Patreon page. Just have to look at it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, why not? Let's have a look. Don't
But
pay.
do you do cool things like photoshopping your face on stupid animals and things like that?
I mean, if whoever was that handsome chap that had the idea for doing that, I don't know. I wish I could meet him.
One day. One day.
One day.
And
but that's me. What about you, Twix?
You guys can find me here on this channel. So you're on my Twitch channel right now, twitch.tv/Torque17. You can find me on Twitter at Torque17Gaming and on YouTube at Torque17Gaming. And I guess the only things that are going on, I don't remember when it is. It's either next week or the week after. We're going to be doing a Herald giveaway. And the 24th, not the end of the month because we're going to be in PAX, I forgot about that. The 24th of January, I'm giving away a Banu Merchantman on this channel between 6 and 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to help support me, the best thing you can do is either subscribe on the channel, or I do have that t-shirt sale below, !shirt in chat. It's t-shirts or a hoodie. I know if you're from Europe, the price for shipping is pretty up there. So if you really want to help support, that's a good thing to do. Again, I don't really make any money off these shirts. I kind of press them to not really make any money. I just want to get those shirts out there for you guys and see some Twerk fans. So that's kind of the only reason I did it, and just to be able to get the successful.
Twerk has fans.
I don't know if I have fans. I'm trying to find out if I have fans. That's actually why I put the sale up. So, yeah, and just to get the successful sales done, so I can actually have a store and then be able to give you a decent shipping rate for you guys in Europe, since most of my viewership is from Europe because of the time that I stream. So, thanks, guys.
Yeah, and you can find me at twitch.tv/WTFOSaurus, twitter.com/WTFOSaurus. I'm very, very active on there. And also, a nice little reminder that we do have this beautiful Redacted YouTube page that we are going to have more videos up on here. We just posted one 2 hours ago about stream sniping. If you want to go check that out, !Redacted in either Twerk's channel or my channel.
Yep. And also, don't forget the Redacted Patreon page. I don't know if that's where you were going.
No, I wasn't, but I'm going to now.
Okay, because we are in the process. I think the funds just came in from the Patreon, so now we're going to be in the process of actually getting the Redacted.tv website on a good host. And, migrated over to a more stable host, and then all three of us are going to be a lot more active with that stuff. So when we're not streaming, we're going to be more active on the website, and I know Board and I have a lot of ideas of things that we want to put up on the Redacted page and things like that. So we've just been waiting in limbo and waiting for something a little more stable that we can work with a little bit better than
with the Redacted YouTube and some of the Redacted stuff. We didn't have the time before.
Yeah. We don't have the time still. I'm just forcing it in there. I'm just brute forcing it in.
Yeah.
So it's occasionally hard for us, but we're getting more and more helpers every day. We're getting more and more cool people that join the Redacted.tv forums, and people posting on there really genuinely does help us all, because they give us ideas and they give us feedback and they interact with our communities, and that helps us no end. So thank you very much for all of that, guys. Genuinely appreciate it.
Very much appreciated.
Thank you so much, guys.
That's pretty much wraps it up for this, except for one more thing.